Welcome back to part 7 of the div-based website tutorials. And the last video, what we did was make a template for the index page, and then we created the index page. Now this tutorial we will be using one of the existing templates to create another template for the subpages and then start creating all the subpages. This is going to be similar to what we just did with the index pages. So I'm going to speed along a little bit faster, not too fast though, just because this is kind of a repeat of what we have already done. So what we need to do is open up our template.html and this is what we have right now. In here, what we need is just one div on the right hand side here, and right now we have 3 of them with images inside of them. So what we need to do is start deleting out some of these divs, which is going to be these bottom 2 divs here. And then what we're going to do is expand this top div but still delete this image out, and then make a new image to fit inside here for one big area, because this is going to be the content in all of our other pages. And I'm in my template.html. You may be in your template_home.dwt, which either one should work okay if you don't have one of these other ones. Just make sure you delete out the new arrivals section in the summer styles section. So I'm going to actually close that one out. I'm just going to work from this one. So let's go ahead. I'm going to click on my new arrivals div. So click on the edge here so you can see the div properties down below, and it should highlight your new arrivals AP element up on the right hand side, and then just go ahead and hit delete on your keyboard. And then I'm going to do the same with the check out our summer styles down below here, and then press delete there. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on delete. I'm not going to click on the div, I'm going to click on delete, or I'm going to click on the image and then press delete. So click on the image, and you'll know the image is selected because you'll see these 3 little boxes here, those little black boxes, and then just press delete, and you can see that the div will stay, but the image will be gone. Now what we need to do is go back to Photoshop to our merged together document. So that would be this document with the guides and the slices in this document. So what we need to do is make this whole area this peachish color, and we want to keep the boundary though, the actual border going around here, we want to keep that. So what I want to do is make a new layer, and if you don't have this up in Photoshop, go ahead and open it now, and then go ahead and click on a new layer, and then this is going to be sub layout. Whoops, layout, forgot the T. Now this is just going to cover up all the images over on the right hand side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in actually a little bit here so I can see this right side a little bit better. And I just need to cover up all the image here and the text in those other lines. So I'm just going to click and drag a rectangle out, and I'm going to try and make it right up to the edge of the border here, and you can see I am right up to the edge. We want to do that because you can see I have my line right up to this border. If yours stops about right here, then you don't necessarily actually have to go all the way out to the border like I do here. But we do have one thing that we have to cover up, and that's this corner up here, or actually deselect. So you can see here it is encompassing some of this gray. We want to get rid of that. So I'm going to go to my lasso tool, and then I want to make sure subtract from selection is invoked here. And then I'm just going to draw a line that goes through those gray pixels and then go like that and just circle it back around, and that'll subtract that area from the selection. So be careful, you may have to take your time doing that. I'm going to zoom back out here. And now, as long as I'm on the new layer I just selected, I'm going to click on my foreground color, and I'm just going to hover over this area here and just match that color that the background is. Then I'm going to click on OK. And then what I'm going to do is go up to Edit, Fill, and then make sure you check the foreground color option, and then click on OK. Now you can see that makes a cover of the home layout. Now this is actually what the subpage is going to look like. So I'm going to press Control D to deselect. And then what I'm going to do is click on my rectangular marquee tool again, and I want to cast a selection from this upper corner here to the right of the goods department store name, and then go all the way down to the upper corner of that footer image we exported a while ago. So I'm going to click and drag from here all the way down to here. Now I'm going to do a Control-Shift-C, which is a copy merged, and then do a Control-N, which is a new document. Just press on Enter or click on OK, and do a Control-V to paste that on here. Now this is what's going to fit into the new, actually the existing div that was over here. So what we have to do is do an image size, and then the width is 540, which it should already be, and well, yours may vary a little bit, but mine's 540 in the width, and the height is 752. So I'm going to click over here. I already have the 540. So here is, I need to put 752 in the height, and that should take it right down to the edge of the footer, which it does, and it looks good. And then let's go back to Photoshop, because we now have to save this document. So let's go ahead and hit cancel. And then go up to File, Save for Web. And then I'm going to click on Save here. And I want to browse to my Images folder that has all my other structure elements here. Now these are all the structure elements for the home page and some of the subpage. I am going to save this in the same area as sub underscore content underscore BG. So it's the background for the content of the subpages. So I'm going to click on save there. And then what I need to do is go back to Dreamweaver, and I need to refresh my page over here, and actually just by scrolling up and down you can see my sub content BG shows up in this folder, my images folder here. And if you do not see it come up, click on the refresh button up here, And then to add this as a background image, I want to click on the background image div, click on the browse folder and go to the images. And then I want to find that new image here. Go ahead and click on OK. And then it should come right in there. We should be able to click in here and see a cursor on the left hand side. Now what we can do is save this as a template. So let's go ahead up to File, Save actually let's go down to Save as Template, and this is going to be template underscore sub. Click on Save. It'll ask us to update links. We will say yes. And now you can see it updates it now to a Dreamweaver template. And now it is listed in our template folder on the right hand side here. Now what we need to do is actually reassign this latest goods news as a background image to the div. So I'm going to click on this image, click on delete, click on this one here, and refine that. That one was image 11. Click on OK there. And now just a couple repeat things that we need to do with this is we have to assign the text, and that is in our CSS styles panel here. How we will do that is let's actually bring this down. I'm actually going to click on the tab and drag out to here so we can see this panel a little bit better, and then I'll put it back after we're done. I'm going to click on container here, and I want to assign the font family as Arial, and then the font size to 12. And then if I click in here and start typing, it should be Arial font, and then it should be size 12, which is fine here, but I'm going to go ahead and delete that out. And I'm actually going to click on now the goods div here, and that is actually, if you click on that, it'll tell you what AP element it is, and it is latest news. So you can go over into your CSS styles, and that will be latest news, and we want to assign a font family of the same. So Arial, but I'm going to make this size 16. And if you used your other template, you may already have this set up. So if you're going to all these areas over here and this is already set up, just leave it be. But then the one other confusing thing is I know some of you I've seen in class have not been naming your divs. So if you click on your div and it's not actually named over here, it will actually highlight what the actual default name is, and there should be then a default CSS style for that div. It'll just be the default name. But anyway, I'm going to move my CSS styles back over in between the files and AP elements area. So that puts that there, and I'm going to just drag my files panel up a little bit because we don't need the CSS styles anymore. Now, if you remember before, what we did, we inserted an editable region, and then we added divs to that edit region. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to start with the latest goods news div. I'm going to click on Insert, Layout Objects in AP Div, like we've been doing over and over again. And now you can see it inserts it underneath latest news, and I'm going to rename this to news. Let's do news 1. And then I'm just going to move it down underneath the goods title, and then I think before we made it about 225, and then we made it I think about 205 for the height, if I remember correctly. Yep. And then I'm actually just going to move it. I'm just going to click and drag it to the left a little bit. And then it'll actually update the left and the top offset dimensions here as we click and move it around. So that looks good there. Alright, now the next one, we want to start inserting the divs over in this new div on the right hand side here. Now, before we put the divs over in this right hand side, which that actually isn't a new div, it's the one that we took the big image out of, so it's actually still named top right pick. Well, that's what mine was named. Yours could have been named something else. But before we do that, we have to insert our edit region. So let's click in here, and I'm going to go into Insert, Template Objects, and Editable Region. And then I'm going to click on OK, and as soon as I click on OK, I'm going to press Enter a couple of times. Not too much, just to open that up a little bit, and that's where our text will go. And then I'm going to go over to this big area over here, and I'm going to put an edit region over here as well. So let's go up to Edit, or Insert rather, Template Objects, and Editable Region. Click on OK. Now I'm just going to press Enter a bunch of times here so it takes me down the page. That's pretty good right there. And now we want to make sure we're inside that edit region. And then we're going to insert a new div. And this div is going to be for the title up here. And remember, this is the template for all of the sub pages. That's apparel, toys, electronics, pet supplies, and gardening. So those names need to fit inside this div. So I'm going to go ahead to Insert, Layout Objects, AP Div, and you should see it be indented underneath the top right pick div, which is the big one that's over here. And we're going to assign, let's actually rename this to title, because it's going to be the title of each page. And now we are going to assign the text size for this. And you can see here, if you go to your AP Styles panel, it makes a new title CSS style. And I'm going to drag this out here so I can see all the properties. And then I'm going to make sure title is selected, and I'm going to assign a font family of Arial. And let's do a font size of 36. And let's actually test that out. Pet supplies is our longest one, so I'm going to type that out. And that fits perfectly inside that div. So let's go ahead, and I am going to leave, let's click on the actual outside of the div. Leave it at a width of 200, but the height will be only about 50. And then I'm going to move this up towards the top of the page here, and I want to make sure it is centered in this area here. So this side should be about the same as this side. And that should be good there. I'm going to delete the text out now, and I'm just going to leave that div open there like that. And then let's go ahead and return our CSS styles panel back over to here. And then what we want to do is now insert a box. We're going to have 3 columns and 3 rows, so 9 divs total inside here. 10 divs including this one here. So let's go ahead and click back in the top of the edit region, insert layout object AP div, and then this needs to be the size of our images. So if you remember, they were 150 in the width, and then we need to fit text inside of these also, so this needs to be about 170 in the height. And then I'm going to just drag this down here to about right there, and then I want to rename this to item 1. And then I'm going to just keep doing that over and over again. So click at the top here, insert layout object AP div, change the width to 150, change the height to 170, and then rename it to item 2. And then I'm going to move this pretty much right underneath that top div and pretty much centered. And make sure the T dimension for each one of these, so the T dimension here is the same. So I have 107 and 107, so that's good. Now we want to make 6 more of these. So I'm going to go ahead and just repeat this process over and over again. I'm going to go kind of quickly. Just click in the, actually let me start that again. Click in the upper portion of the edit region, go to insert, layout objects, AP div, resize it, 150 for the height, and then 170, or 150 for the width, 170 for the height, and then I'm going to click and move it over to here. Make sure 107, or yours may be a different number than mine, but make sure that is the same number for all these for the top or there. Make sure they're somewhat even going through here. And then I'm going to keep doing that. I want to put another row of 3 here, and then another row of 3 down below here. So click at the top, insert, layout, AP div, and then drag it into place. But this left dimension for this one and the left dimension for this top one should be the same. So 16 and 16, that's good. But I forgot to name the last 2, so rename this to item 3 and this one to item 4. And then we will do that over and over again. Now this left and this left should be the same, 189, 189. Then actually the top for this one and then this one should be the same, so, and they are, so 311. That's how you know they're going in evenly here. And then I'm going to continue with the last row here. And I'm going to name the rest of these at the end here. Okay, that'll be our setup for that. So let me go rename these. This one will be AP Div, or item 6. This one will be item 7. This one will be item 8. And this one will be item 9. Alright. Now let's go ahead up to File and Save. Now the next thing we want to make on this page is the title name. And the other one, if you recall, we named it Goods Department Store Home, or I think we just did website. Actually, I'm going to open that up just to make sure. Yeah, Goods DS website. Let's just make it the same thing. So I'm going to do a Control C for that, and then come over and put that into the title. And remember, that updates the tab in your web browser. So I'm going to go ahead and just close out the template home. And now I'm going to do a file save. And now we're at the point where we can actually start making our subpages here: the apparel, toys, electronics, pet supplies, and gardening. So I'm going to go through these pages here, and actually I might just do a couple of the pages here, and then to do the rest they're exactly the same. So I'm actually going to close this out, this subpage out, and then what I'd like to do is point out my products folder. Now if I expand that, you can see I have a large images folder, and then a thumbnails folder. And you can see here I have each file saved for what page it's actually going to be on. So all the apparel ones have an APP on them. Electronics have an ELE on them. Garden has garden in the front. Pet supplies has pet, and the toy page has toy in front. And I have this thumbnails folder as a zip folder on Canvas. So go ahead and download that. And most of these images are what was taken in class and then resized. But be careful, not all of these are exactly the size that I told you to resize them. And I did resize some of them, but it was taking me a while to actually get all these resized. So some of them you may have to resize on your own. And remember, the size that we wanted was 150 by 150. And actually, I'll just show you right here. This is all the images in that folder. And you can see here, most of them are the 150 by 150, but some of them are not. Let me see. Actually, most of the ones I'm picking here are 150 by 150, but this one here, you can see that it's wider than it is tall, and then this one is a little bit shorter. So just be careful. You may have to resize some of these, but for the most part, they are about the size that you want. Yeah, you can see this one's a little bit wider here. So just be careful with that, and you want a products folder in your root folder. So I'm going to minimize that, and I'm going to start with my apparel page. So I'm going to click on the More button here, or you could always go to File, New, and then I'm going to do a Page from Template. And now make sure you click on your website, and then we're going to click on the sub template this time. And if you don't see your subfolder up here, it's because you didn't save your template file, the new one that you modified, as into the templates folder. You have to go to File, Save as Template. But anyway, go ahead and click on Create. And now this is where we can go ahead and start actually creating the apparel page. I didn't have you fill in the edit region for the latest goods news, just because some websites may have some news regarding each individual page. That's why we didn't fill that in here. But chances are what I'm going to do before we're done is just copy and paste the news that I put on the home page. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and type in apparel. Now notice that we do not have a centered text here, and that's because we did not center this div within the template page. We just made it the size of our longest title here, which was pet supplies, and apparently, or well, obviously, apparel is much shorter than that. So before we do anything, let's do a File, Save As. Or you could click on File, Save, and we want to save this in the main root folder level where the index page is saved, and this is going to be apparel.html, and this is important that you spell this correctly because it needs to match up with the link that's in the apparel nav area. So go ahead and click on Save there, and now you can see it's saved up as apparel.html. And now what I want to do is go back to the template sub template, and I'm going to click on this div, and if I click on the edge here, you can see it'll highlight the name of that div, which it is title. Which is title, and then what we have to do is assign another CSS style to this div. So I'm going to drag out my CSS styles panel again, and then let's click on the title panel. Now we have already added a font family and font size to this, but if we scroll down the page here, we need to find text align, which is under the block area, and you can see it right here, text align. And then what we want to do is set that to center, and then you can see if I click back in this div, my cursor's in the middle, and it'll start to center everything that we type into that div. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and bring my CSS panel back over to the right hand side here, And then I'm going to do a file save for the template here. And then since we have already made the apparel page off of this one, it's going to ask us to update. Then I'm going to check library items and click on start. Then click on close, and then I'm going to close out the sub page. So now you can see it has updated the apparel page, and now it is centered. So I'm going to go to my root folder, and now I want to start bringing in the apparel images. And some of these you may argue that they are not apparel, but more or less these are just examples of how you can create an apparel page for a website. And this is actually eyeliner. We don't actually have a makeup section to this website, so, and I had a student take a picture of eyeliner, so we will put it on the apparel page. So, and I'm just going to rename each one of these as they come in. And then whenever they come in, I'm just going to click to the right so my cursor shows up to the right, and then I'm going to start typing in here eyeliner, and then I'm going to put a dash, and we'll say $3.99, and then we can put the $sign there. Okay, so that's what I want to keep putting in here. This one is female shoes. And we'll say those are $35 shoes. And I'm just going to keep going through here and adding all the apparel pictures. And then make sure you put a price for each one. Now, you can see that everything's left aligned, all my text, and I just showed you how to align the apparel. So if you want yours centered, you will have to go back and center each one of the divs here for the items. We'll say the hat is $20. And I'm just going to keep working down the page here. And there's no particular order right now. Whoop, I want to make that $5, not $55. I would say that's pretty expensive, I think. Can't say I buy too much lipstick though, if any at all. Shirt. This next shirt is a button-up. And I'm really not too particular on what you make the prices here. It's up to you. You're the designer. I think this is another hat, so I'm going to put hat 2. Yep. I actually think that might be the same hat, but it looks a little bit different with the lighting here, so we'll put straw hat just to make it a little bit different. And then I'm just going to continue down through here. I'm not sure what this one is. Let me cancel that here real quick. If you're not sure, you can preview this. I'm just gonna, you can open it with Photoshop here. Those are shoes. And I think these might be, actually let me reopen those. If I do an image size, I think these are a little bit small, or a little bit bigger than what we would like. So what I'm gonna do is actually resize this right now, and then we will constrain the proportions here, and we want this to be 150, and then that'll make it by 100. And actually, I'm gonna go to canvas size after I resize that, and then let's make the height 150. Then we can click on OK. Then what I'm gonna do is actually, let's double click over here and then do a Control T, and then I'm actually going to blow the picture up a little bit. And then it'll keep it about the same size as the other ones. And then I'm going to just do a file save, and then I'm just going to copy over that one here, and if I go back here, actually let me delete. Now I'm going to bring this back in. There'll be shoes, and then they're resized, and this will be Nike flights, and I don't know, maybe 70 bucks for those. Can't say I've bought those in years, but apparently they are the style of some of the students in the class. And then this is a makeup kit, so let's go ahead and do that. And then I really have no idea how much this would cost. Maybe, I don't know, 12 bucks. I could be wrong, but anyway. So there's all of our images, and now I'd like to put in the latest goods news of the same of the index page. So I'm going to open the index page and then just copy this out, just the text here. So Control C, go back to the apparel, paste it into here. Take out the extra spaces there, and I'm going to do a file save for that. Now, I realized one thing before we actually preview this page. We don't have our links set up for the template subpage, provided you use the same template that I did. If you used another template that already had it set up to do your save as, then they may already be updated. So I'm going to open up the template, and I'm going to click on home here, and okay, you can see that the link is not in there. So I'm going to retype in the link for each one of these. Like I said, yours may already have this. So this one's index.html. And then I'm just going to keep going down the line. Now pet is going to be pet underscore supplies. And then gardening will be just gardening. Okay, I'm going to file save this and then do the update. Now, let's do a file save for this, and then I'm going to preview this in Firefox. And now you can see here is our apparel page, and then if I click on home, it goes to our home page. If I click back to apparel, it'll navigate us through. So our first two pages are now complete. One thing you may want to do is maybe realign your latest goods news just so it doesn't change from page to page. Now, you create each one of these other pages exactly how I did this page. So just to review that real quick to get you started on those, I'm not going to go through each page, but I'm going to close this out. And then we can close all these other pages out because we don't need them. And now whenever you're back to this page, you click on more, and then you click on page from template. Make sure your site is selected, and then pick on your template sub. Then click on create. Now all you have to do is start filling in all of the divs here on whatever page it is. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and this one will be the toys.html page. And then we'll save there, and if I refresh over here, you can see the toys comes in right there. And basically it's just down to bringing all the toy images in here, putting the text in, and then updating the latest goods news, and then that's the same way for all the other pages. So if you need any help with that, with all the other pages, let me know. If you're running into any problems on any other pages, also let me know. I'll be around to help. Thanks for watching. This is going to actually complete your website.